Stitchers. I'm Amy. I'm the Globetrotting Stitcher. Happy to be back with you today. I hope that you have all been well and getting lots of stitching done. We are doing well here. Actually, it's been a beautiful couple of days. Spring has definitely sprung in the Pacific Northwest. We've got lots of daffodils coming up. No tulips yet, but I expect we'll see those in the next couple of weeks. We're having a bit of a drier and warmer spring than is normal, which is not surprising for an El Nino year. So it's been really nice weather to get outside, soak up the sun, do some yard work, all the things that we all do in spring. And so we've really just been enjoying kind of this shift out of winter. Wanted to thank all of you. We got so many great comments on our last video, you guys. It was some of you made me really laugh. And I wanted to share a couple of things coming out of that. So first of all, there was nearly universal support for Gary to start a new project. So if you watched our last video, you know Gary was talking about, he was thinking about maybe starting another project. We'll talk about whether he did or did not do that later. But it was just a lot of you were definitely in the cheering section for, yeah, start another one or start 10 more. So we'll see about that. But there was also pretty much universal agreement with Gary's opinion that I should not add any pom-poms to the pillow finish that I showed you. In fact, one of you, XCL, left a comment that I thought was hysterical. They said, singer Dolly Parton said one is just a rhinestone away from classy to trashy. And I thought that was amazing. So I have taken everyone's advice. I have called enough, and the pillow is finished. It will not have pom-poms put on it. So thank you everybody for weighing in. That was definitely actually really helpful. I also really enjoyed, there was a comment from Carol, who is one of our regular viewers and a longtime viewer. And Carol was talking about the section where I talked a little bit about my work and that I work with a lot of people who have PhDs. And she said something to the effect that I work with PhDs at both work and in cross stitch because PhD means project half done. And I thought that was absolutely hilarious. So again, thank you to everybody who takes time to leave comments. We do read them all. We really enjoy them. And we had some great ones on the last video. The only other kind of life updatey sort of thing to share with you is that Gary had a big milestone birthday over the last couple of weeks. And so we've been enjoying celebrating him. Gary, I know I'm putting you on the spot a little bit. I don't know if you want to talk about your birthday at all or what we did, but this is your moment if you want to.
Well, you know, we're recording, so I had no idea, so I've got nothing prepped. Other than that, I'm 60, and I'm officially old now. I guess I was officially old at 55, but that was so long ago. Whoops, I just bumped Amy's camera, so if she just jiggled, that was my leg hitting the... I'm getting old, so I just I make these kinds of mistakes.
Things move without permission now.
Yes, I am getting old, but whatever, who cares? I'm good. Hope you are too.
Nothing wrong with getting old, that's for sure. So we had a fun time celebrating his birthday. I took a day off work just to kind of spend time going around doing action figure hunting with Gary, and it was just really nice to have unpressured time to just hang out together. And then we also had, my family has a tradition of we all get together to celebrate each person's birthday, and we either, you know, have a nice lunch at someone's house or we go somewhere and meet up for a meal. And so on Gary's actual birthday, everyone kind of came over to our area and we went to our favorite Italian restaurant. But I didn't tell Gary that everybody was coming. I just told him that it was a reservation for the two of us. And so when we got there, it was a nice surprise for him to see a whole bunch of family. So we really enjoyed that.
See the family.
Yes. And so we're going to have one more little splash, having some friends over next weekend to celebrate. So looking forward to that. But it's been a lot of fun to celebrate his big milestone. All right, so let's get into the stitching. So I have a fully finished object to show you before we go into the whips. One of my kind of personal goals for this year is to clear out my backlog of unfinished or only partially finished cross-stitch pieces that I've finished the stitching but haven't completed turning them into something that can actually be displayed in our home. So I am working through that backlog as I can find time. And so this time around, I have another little pillow finish to share with you. This is from the Bittersweet Trio chart pack from Waxing Moon Designs. This is the Fox chart from that pack. I stitched it on a piece of 36 count bee's knees linen by Seraphim Fabrics, and I used the called for flosses. And here he is. I think this is a boy fox. We'll just go with it. It might be a lady, but I think it's a boy. So at any rate, so here's the finish. I used a very similar kind of finishing style so that it's consistent with the other pillow that you saw last time, which was the crow. So I've got a fun little strip of the Lady Dot Creates Velveteen in here as an accent, and then a nice kind of check fabric in autumn colors with some accent buttons. And then on the back, I use this kind of pretty floral autumnal batik fabric for the backing.
Sorry.
What's so fun?
Autumnal, but just go on. I'm just being silly.
Autumnal batik.
Yeah.
Yes. And then a couple of little charms on here. One of the things I'm starting to do this year that I haven't done in the past is, in addition to any other charm that I put on, I've got a set of 2024 charms that I'm putting on the back of pillows as I finish them. So the pillow will remind me what year I finished it in. So anyway, I really was pleased with how this turned out. It was a lot of fun, and I only have one design left in this chart pack that I need to turn into a pillow. So we'll see if I have a chance to get to that before our next video. I think the next couple weeks might be a little busier, so might be a couple of updates before you see that, but it's definitely on the horizon. But yeah, there we are, and happy with how this turned out and looking forward to displaying it in the fall. In the autumn. Okay. So that's it for finishes. Let's take a look at our whips. So we'll start with my whip and then we'll hear from Gary. So the first one I have to show you is my wild card stitch. As many of you know, if you've been watching us for a while, I am stitching Cabin Fever by Dimensions. It is a Dimensions Gold Collection kit. I am using the kit fabric and floss for this. And the last time you saw this, I had made some really good progress. So I had started stitching the roof of the cabin and had gotten a pretty sizable chunk of that put in. And then I had also reached a bit of a milestone in that I got all the way to the bottom on the left-hand side of the design. So that whole left column was finished, which was really great. So here's where it is right now. More good progress. So I filled in a lot more of this section here underneath the two deer. And so now you can more clearly see that the mother deer or the doe that is drinking out of the, I guess it's like a little pond here. You can see her reflection in the water now. And it's a little bit clearer that that's what that is. Filled in some more down in through here. Also filled in a little bit more up here in the tree line. And then as you can see, did more to kind of fill in some of the gaps that were in the roof, worked a bit on the chimney, and then really started working down in the A-frame and filling that section in. So you can now see there's like a porch that's up here, and you can see the light from the inside of the cabin that's reflecting out onto the eaves. That's one of the things that I love about Dimensions is the way that they use color to really kind of capture that effect of light. There are several other designs of theirs that I've seen where this is done really, really well. And I think this is a great example of that, where when you're stitching with these really kind of bright yellows and oranges, in that moment, you're like, this just is weird. I don't see how this is going to work. And yet when it all comes together in the big picture, what it really is doing is like playing with light and shadow. And it creates a really wonderful effect. You kind of have the same thing over here where you're stitching, it's essentially you're stitching a birch tree, but you're using pinks and blues, and you're like, birch trees are not pink and blue. But when you actually get it all stitched in, what it does is it gives you the wonderful effect of this tree in the shadows of other trees. So it's one of the things that Dimensions does really well, and I've been enjoying kind of seeing this come to light. One of you left a comment a couple of videos ago about how stitching is like painting with thread. And I really feel like Dimensions kits are, that's particularly true. I kind of feel like Bob Ross when I'm stitching on a Dimensions kit, just because of the way that they use color and shadow to give that effect. So anyway, I'm really enjoying this. It's starting to really come together, and it's exciting to see several months of work in sort of dense background that's indistinct begin to really pay off. All right, so next we are going to go to Gary to talk about his whip.
She means whips, and that's plural. The first one that I'm working on is Louis Armstrong. It's by Stitching Jewels Design, and it's on 16 count white Ada, and it's black DMC. I think I'm making pretty good progress on this one. Last time you saw it, I was still working on just after the bell where his hand starts. I'm still working in that area. But I've made a little bit of progress. I think probably by the end of this week, I should have the rest of this page done. Now, I know I keep saying page done. Might be just a nice thing to say. I don't know. Anyway, but I'm pretty sure, because there's not much more dense stitching left on that. But that's where I am. This is where I am now. I guess I never said that. Did I not say that?
You didn't say that.
Okay, well, I'll figure out how to make that work later. Anyway, so this is where I am, and yeah, I'm really liking the progress on this. It's unfortunate that when I'm working on it, I keep it in the frame there, so I can't see the whole thing. But when you see the whole thing, it's really neat. Anyway, so that's where I am on that, and based on viewer feedback, we opted to go ahead and or I opted to go ahead and start another project, something that was a little simpler and somewhat whimsical, if you will. So we got what's it? It's Wonder Woman by Cross Stitch Bay. It's an Etsy shop, and it's stitched on. I'm stitching it on 16 count Pewter Ada with the called for DMCs. And this would be what you would call a new start, I guess, as opposed to a whip. I'm still learning the lingo. Anyway, so this is where I am. And I'm going to basically finish. I think my goal for this is to finish her head, just finish all the black that goes in her head, and then go back and work on Louis Armstrong. Go back and work on that, and then come back to this. And then I'm undecided as to whether I should do like just the outline of that's black, and come back and do the fill. Pardon me, or do the fill as I go, and then I can have like shaggy hairs hanging off of my stuff, like Amy's works do, and get one of those discs to hold them. Probably won't do that, but it's a dream. Anyway, so that's where we are, and so we don't forget, by the end, there are 2 action figures over there, and I keep bumping the camera. I got to figure out another place to sit next time. They are part of my my birthday gifts. I got several more, but these guys, it's R2-D2 that's just been released a little while ago, I guess, and a Mandalorian figure. Both of them are pretty cool. So that's what's over there today. Anyway, I think I think I need to move on. At least the timer's telling me move on. Anyway, where would you like to go from there?
Well, I was going to ask you about your stitching on a nerd hoop for the first time. And I was going to ask you what you thought. Because you normally work with a Q-snap and you're stitching Wonder Woman with a nerd hoop, but you don't have to talk about that if you're not ready, if it's too new.
Well, I guess really the only thing I can tell you is I have never thought of it. I just looked at it like it's in there. I'm stitching it. But it does seem to keep things taut. And that's important in cross stitch because you don't want it loopy or loose. Just you don't want that. You want taut. Taut's good.
Taut's good. All right. So I've got one more whip to show you before we wrap things up. And that is my full coverage piece that I'm working on, which is Rose Trellis In. This is by Heaven and Earth Designs, and I am stitching it on 28 count white Lugana using a combination of half stitch and continental stitch. So the last time you saw this, I had still working on the trellis with the roses on it. I had worked down close to the bottom of the left side of that trellis and started stitching some of the garden background, although that was really spotty. I had also stitched in the head of the unicorn, but I hadn't kind of got in the lower part of his body yet. And frankly, and I mentioned this in the last update or the last time you saw this, I hadn't made much progress because the last time this was up in rotation, it came up during a week when I was getting ready to travel. And so I got a lot less time on it and a lot fewer days than I normally would. That was not the case this time. And so here's where I am right now. I'm pretty delighted with my progress on this so far this week. So as you can see, I've completely finished the left side of the trellis. I've stitched down now into more of the garden. And so you can see some grass, you can see some sprays of flowers. I've finished this little section of siding on the house. Also have now stitched all of the unicorns so you can see his little head poking around the corner of the house as well as his front leg. A couple of pretty sprays of flowers here around the unicorn. Have stitched down more of this right side of the trellis, as well as more of this door up here. And although it's kind of hidden behind the parked threads, there's a bit of a walkway and looks like some steps in it that are coming down from the door. There's a pretty bouquet or basket of flowers there. And then stitched more of the siding in here as well as more of this pole. And it may not be super noticeable to all of you, but there's also a railing, the railing for the steps to the front porch that is just starting to, the top part of that railing is just starting to show up there. So I want to say this has close to 2,500 stitches of progress in it so far this week, which is pretty good. I had a really good stitching day yesterday. So this one is definitely coming on really well. And I'll have a little bit more time on it before I put it away, but super enjoying this one. It's just really, really been a lot of fun to work on. So that is my rose trellis in. I think that's kind of it for us today. This is a little bit of a short spring update. So we'll wrap up by telling you about our plans over the next couple of weeks. The one thing I will say, the one thing I will say before I get into that is it's several years away, but I have been thinking about, because this might change because this is several years away, but I have been feeling some massive startitis, which doesn't happen to me very often. I'm usually pretty good about just kind of taking a measured pace, keeping my whip count under control. I'm not intending to go jump off the deep end, but I've been looking through my charts and there's so many beautiful things that I really, really want to stitch. And so I've been thinking about, in a couple of years when I get another big milestone birthday, would I want to do a year of starts? And I don't know that I wouldn't throw out my rotation, but I could see myself potentially starting a bunch of projects that would then be, worked on over the years to come. I'm just toying with that idea. 3 weeks from now, I probably will be like, that was a wild thought. Don't even consider that. But there's just a lot of things that are calling to me right now, and there's just no space in my rotation to expand for those unless I completely change my approach, which I don't want to do. So anyway, just kind of sharing, sharing the things that I've been thinking about as far as my stitching lately, and considering, what I might want to do in a couple of years' time. Okay, so that was a bit like off topic and rambly. Let's get back to plans. So what are we going to be working on over the next couple of weeks? I am going to spend like another half day on rose trellis and we'll see how much farther I can take that. After that, I'm going to spend a week working on my sampler category, which right now is Die Farben Venedig, or the colors of Venice. And then I will also spend a week working on my Fancy Lady Rose of Sharon. And Gary is going to, kind of continue to plug away on Wonder Woman and Louis Armstrong. So we'll see where we go with that. I also am going to continue kind of filling in, working on my weekend stitch, which is Butterfly Port Mauve. So we'll see. Hopefully I'll have enough progress on that to show you next time. And then at some point I do need to get a new travel stitch started. So we'll see what that turns out to be. So that kind of does it for us. We hope that you all are doing well. We hope that you're getting lots of stitching done. And we hope that you enjoyed spending some time with us today. I know it was a little bit short and sweet, but sometimes those videos are the best because it lets you get on to the next update. So if you do enjoy our videos, I hope you'll give us a thumbs up. Please do feel free to leave us a comment. We really enjoy those. You can reach out to us also on our email, which is globetrottingstitcher@gmail.com. And I try to occasionally post updates to Instagram between videos. I'm not as good about it as I should be. But please feel free to follow me there. I'm globetrotting_stitcher. So with that, be well, be safe, stitch a lot of beautiful things, and we will look forward to seeing you really soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, can we stop?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry. Oh, what's happening?
I guess we're cutting now.
That's what I thought you were saying when you said stop.
Stop with me.
Oh,
but we'll just cut.